this is Bob Mason from FX Empire, and welcome to the daily crypto tech review of Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Ripple's XRP. We're looking at the MACDs, the moving averages, and the day's support, resistance, and pivot levels. It is Saturday, the 9th of January. Jumping straight into Bitcoin against the US dollar, looking at the hourly candlesticks. Relatively bullish start to the morning here. Going to need to see Bitcoin avoid the pivot at 39,678 to take a run at the first major resistance level, staying at 42,800. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Bitcoin to break out from yesterday's new swing high, 41,969. So barring an extended rally on day, expect that first major resistance level and resistance at 43,000 to cap any upside. In the event of another breakout, should see Bitcoin test resistance at 45,500 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 45,092. A fall through the pivot level will bring the first major support level sitting at 37,386 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, should see Bitcoin continue to avoid sub 36,000 levels. Second major support level sits at 34,264. Looking at the MACD, we've got a narrowing of the bearish histograms this morning, supporting the early upside. On the EMAs, we're seeing the 50 hold its ground against the 100 and the 200, but nothing conclusive in terms of direction, so need to keep an eye on that through the early part of the day. So keep through the early part of the day, avoid a fall through the pivot at 39,678, break out from yesterday's high, 41,969, to bring resistance levels into play. Moving across to Ethereum against the US dollar, mixed start to the day here. Going to need to see Ethereum avoid the pivot at 1185.18 to take a run at the first major resistance level, sitting at 1307.17. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Ethereum to break out from Thursday's swing high that was at 1291.94. So barring an extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level to cap any upside. In the event of an extended rally, expect Ethereum to test resistance at 1400 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 1397. A fall through the pivot level will bring the first major support level sitting at 1095.35 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ethereum should avoid sub 1000 levels. 23.6% fib at 1006 should limit the downside. Looking at the MACDs, we've got a marked narrowing of the bearish histograms and a possible bullish cross forming there, so you need to keep an eye on that. On the EMAs, we're seeing the 50 hold its ground against the 100 after a narrowing, so nothing conclusive early on. So through the early part of the day, Ethereum would need to avoid a fall through the pivot at 1185.18 and break out from the new swing high 1291.94 to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that, the support levels are in play. Moving across to Litecoin against the US dollar, positive start to the morning. Going to need to see Litecoin avoid the pivot at 168.07 to take a run at the first major resistance level, staying at 185.94. Going to need to see Litecoin find support from the broader market to break out from yesterday's new swing high, 181.55. So barring extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level and resistance at 190 to cap any upside. In the event of breakout, should see Litecoin test resistance at 200 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 199.42. A fall through the pivot level will bring the first major support level sitting at 154.59 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Litecoin should avoid sub 150s. 23.6% fib sits at 144. Second major support level sits at 136.72. Looking at the MACDs, we've got a bullish cross this morning supporting the early upside, and we're seeing the 50 EMA pull away marginally from the 100 and the 200, signaling further upside through the morning. So avoiding the pivot at 168.07 and a move back through to 180 levels should bring resistance levels into play. Finally, looking at Ripple's XRP against the US dollar, going to need to see Ripple's XRP move back through the pivot at 0.3160 and break back through the 23.6% fib at 0.3172 to bring the first major resistance level, sitting at 0.3513 into play. Going to need to see support from the broader market for Ripple's XRP to break out from yesterday's high that was sitting at 0.34626. So barring extended rally on the day, expect that first major resistance level to cap any upside. In the event of a breakout, Should see Ripple's XRP test resistance at 0.4 before any pullback. Second major resistance level sits at 0.3815. Failure to move back through the pivot and the 23.6% fib would bring the first major support level at 0.2858 into play. Barring an extended sell-off on the day, Ripple's XRP should still well clear sub 0.25 levels. Second major support level sits at 0.2505. Looking at the MACD, we've got a narrowing of the bearish histograms and we could be seeing a possible bullish cross, so keep an eye on that through the morning. On the EMAs, we're seeing the 50 pull away marginally from the 100 and the 200, suggestive of a recovery through the morning. So key through the early part of the day would be to move back through the pivot at 0.3160 and the 23.6% fib at 0.3172 to bring resistance levels into play. Failure to do that and support levels will be in play.